In our last episode, we finished up a handful of jobs that will make a big improvement in how the Galant looks from the outside. But with all the work we've done on the interior, paint, wheels, trim, and other exterior bits, there's still one dirty little secret we've been keeping. And it's hiding under here. While this car has been well maintained and cared for, it's obvious that the engine bay wasn't tidied up often. The combination of an oil leak or two over the years and road grime has teamed up to make things pretty filthy in here. If you know me, you know that I won't sleep at night until I have a spotless engine bay. So let's get to work. When it comes to detailing an engine bay, you just have to dive in and get to it. While painstaking and time-consuming, this is my favorite part of detailing a car because it shows true effort and attention to detail. For some vehicles, using solvents and hot water or even pressure washers is a good technique. When it comes to an older car like this, spraying pressurized water at 20-plus-year-old wiring, connectors, and sensors does not compute in my mind, so I prefer to skip the solvents and pressure washing. Instead, I prefer a mild spray degreaser, various brushes, and lots of cotton rags. Oh, and tons of patience too, as you can work for hours and see little progress, especially in the beginning. I started with the nasty oily hood. Using the cleaner and rags, I wiped and cleaned every surface until it was completely spotless. In many cases, removing the hood insulator makes sense, especially if it's oil-soaked like this one. After many hours, the underside of the hood was looking great. It's not nearly done here, but the results are promising. I'm a valve cover lover from way back. A great looking valve cover is the centerpiece and focal point of your engine bay. Whether you're going for a factory new appearance like we are, or want something really custom, the valve cover is what folks will see first and what sets the tone. While I chose to paint my valve cover, I always recommend powder coating. It costs a little more, but the results are beautiful and powder coating is much more durable than paint. Plus the color and texture options are practically limitless. It is great stuff, but be sure to choose a skilled and reputable coating company. You want a pro doing this, trust me. The pictures you see are just a few examples of the awesome work that my friend Justin at Detective Coating does every day. He coats anything that you can imagine big and small, but is especially known for his eye-popping valve covers, brake calipers, and wheels. Check out his website at detectivecoating.com. I like his Facebook page as he regularly posts cool pictures of stuff he's working on. My factory Galant valve cover was in good shape, but was faded. After a very thorough scrubbing and degreasing, I scuffed up the surfaces to be painted and sprayed a generous primer coat. After that was completely dry, I used Duplicolor engine enamel for my top coat. I like to prop the valve cover up a bit so I can get nice even coats all around. Take your time and be sure to get good paint coverage. After the paint is dry, to complete that factory look, I masked off any nearby areas and used a combination of a razor blade and sanding block to reveal the natural finish of the raised letters. As you work, blow and brush away any dust or grit. I find that my wife's soft makeup brushes work great. Now you can bolt it back on and admire your beautiful new valve cover. Be sure to clean up or paint the spark plug wire cover while you're at it. Another item that will make a big difference are exhaust heat shields. On the Galant, the turbo manifold heat shield was discolored and rusty from 22 years of torture. Rather than trying to refinish the old one, I picked up a new one from Mitsubishi, which looks great and really cleans up the whole area. So we're done, right?
No!
Now it's time for the real detail work. Let's focus on the areas and accessories around the engine. Starting on the firewall, I like to remove the little brackets, clips, and wiring so I can clean them in the area behind them. Use painter's tape and organizers like this one to keep track of your hardware. Here's a little before and after shot of the firewall. It's coming out great. Next, I remove the washer fluid and coolant reservoirs. These get dirty and stained both inside and out and can look pretty bad, as you can see here. Next, I remove the air can and intake hoses. With these parts out of the way, you can get at the dirty areas behind them. Cleaning these painted areas will offer greater contrast to the clean parts you reinstall. The air can was especially oily and dirty, so I let it soak for an hour or so to loosen up the grime. Using a variety of cleaners and brushes, I cleaned all the parts that I could easily remove. Spending time scrubbing little things like this washer fluid lid is worthwhile because it provides great contrast in the engine bay. Same goes with this brake fluid reservoir cap. This was an eyesore before, but with a little work, it looks like new. Rubber lines, hoses, and intake parts really soak up the oil and grime, so give them a few rounds of scrubbing. It may take a few tries, but they'll come clean. After our air can was completely clean, it clearly needed paint. I scuffed it up with a Scotch-Brite pad, wiped it down with wax and grease remover, and then sprayed on a few thick coats of durable gloss black chassis paint. We're in the home stretch now. Back in the garage, I cleaned every bolt that I could see in the engine bay. Bolt heads collect dust and grime, and cleaning them restores that bright factory coating. For items that have a little surface rust, like this battery hold-down clamp, a few minutes with the wire wheel makes them look great again. Speaking of the battery, this no-name battery had a huge goofy sticker on it. The easy fix? Just peel it off. That looks much better and gives the battery an OEM look. Remember our grimy hood insulator? Well, I tried cleaning it, but it was just too far gone. After a few phone calls, I got my hands on a brand new hood insulator from Mitsubishi. Now that is going to look great. Our final task is to fix these headlights. The top of them have a painted surface that is faded and peeled off a bit, which is very noticeable when you open the hood. This is an easy fix. I unbolted and unplugged them, stripped off the old paint, masked the headlights off, and then sprayed on a couple coats of black Plasti Dip. Now they look like new. Okay folks, it's time to see if our many hours of work paid off. Here we go. Just as a quick reminder, here's what we started with. And here's what we have now. Yes, just yes. While other people may find happiness in kittens or collecting stamps, this is what makes a car guy truly happy. I pop the hood, I smile, every single time. My goal was to make the engine bay look like new again, or as close as possible anyway. I think we've done that, and I really love how all of the little individual items that we cleaned or painted come together as one presentation when you open the hood. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, we'll fully reveal the Galant with its restored interior, exterior, and then take it to a few car shows to get some reactions. So with that said, thanks again folks. We'll see you next time.